Welcome to Dashcam NAV. Every second on the road counts, and just one moment of carelessness can change everything. Here, we bring you real, raw, and unbelievable dashcam footage from heart-stopping near misses to shocking crashes. Each clip is a powerful reminder of how fast things can go wrong and the valuable lessons we can learn. Buckle up, stay alert, and let's dive into the wild world of the unexpected. Hello and welcome to another episode of Split-Second Mistakes, where we delve into the world of careless driving, shocking road rage, and the consequences that follow. Today, we're going to talk about the dangerous mistakes that drivers make in the heat of the moment, and how those split-second decisions can lead to life-altering accidents. From tailgating to high-speed lane changes, we're going to break down everything that causes chaos on our roads. Buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into some of the craziest and most shocking moments caught on Dashcam. We've all been there, right? You're driving down the road, minding your own business, when suddenly, someone cuts you off or tailgates you. What do? Some of us might just shake our heads and let it slide. Others? Well, that's when road rage takes over. And that's where things get dangerous. But here's the thing, every action has a reaction. It's not just about how mad you get. It's about what happens next, when that moment of frustration leads to a dangerous decision. Maybe it's speeding to pass someone, weaving in and out of lanes, or slamming on the brakes in anger. Whatever it is, it's all about those split-second mistakes that make a bad situation worse. So, let's talk about these moments, these dangerous decisions, starting with one of the most common mistakes that nearly every driver has made at some point: tailgating. 1. Tailgating, the danger of following too close. Imagine this: you're driving along the highway, cruising at a steady speed when suddenly, a car pulls in right behind you. Not just behind you, but right on your bumper. You can feel the pressure, the anxiety building up in your chest. Every time you tap the brakes, you can hear the tires screeching behind you, and you know that if you make the wrong move, it could be disaster. Tailgating is one of the most common causes of rear-end collisions. The tailgater thinks they're in a rush, but what they fail to realize is that they're putting both of you at risk. In these situations, the driver at the front has very little time to react to sudden stops, turns, or any obstacles that may pop up on the road. When you follow too closely, you're essentially asking for trouble. Let's look at this dashcam footage. Watch how close this car gets to the one in front. Notice how the driver slams on the brakes, but it's already too late. The car behind doesn't have enough time to react, and boom, they crash right into the back of the vehicle. This is the reality of tailgating. And what's worse, it's something that drivers think they can get away with. But it's all about timing, split-second timing. One wrong move, one unexpected stop, and you are in a serious accident. 2. Speeding, the need for speed. Now, let's talk about speeding. We all know how tempting it is to push the pedal to the metal, especially when we're running late. But the truth is, speeding isn't just about getting to your destination faster, it's about increasing your chances of getting into a serious accident. Imagine you are driving down a winding road at high speed. Everything seems fine, right? But then a curve comes up. You're going too fast, and you can't take the turn. The car starts to lose control. The next thing you know, you're either in a ditch, or worse, colliding with oncoming traffic. This footage here shows just how quickly things can go from bad to worse. Speeding doesn't just affect your ability to react to obstacles. It also dramatically increases the force of impact during a collision. The faster you're going, the harder you hit. And when that happens, the chances of serious injury or even death go up exponentially. That's why it's so important to stay within speed limits, no matter how much you might feel the urge to rush. 3. Distracted driving, the hidden killer. Alright, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about something that's quickly becoming one of the leading causes of accidents on the road: distracted driving. We're talking about texting, checking social media, adjusting the radio, and even eating while driving. Picture this: you're driving along, and you get a text message. You glance down, and for just a second, your eyes are off the road. That 1 second can be enough for disaster. A pedestrian crossing, a red light, or another car making a sudden stop. It all happens so fast, and by the time you look back at the road, it's already too late. Here's a dashcam clip that shows just how quickly things can turn south when you are not paying attention. Notice how the driver looks down at their phone for just a moment. That's all it takes. Now, look at the crash. It's a simple mistake, but it has life-altering consequences. This is a problem that's getting worse every year. In fact, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that distracted driving accounts for around 9 deaths every day in the United States alone. And that's just the fatalities. There are thousands of injuries every year, many of which are entirely preventable. For overtaking, the dangers of trying to beat the clock. Let's talk about overtaking now. We've all had that moment when we're stuck behind a slow driver, and we just can't stand it anymore. We start weaving through lanes, trying to pass them as quickly as possible, even when it's not safe. But when you overtake at the wrong moment, you're playing a dangerous game. In this next clip, watch how one driver tries to pass another in a no-passing zone. The other car doesn't see them coming, and what could have been a harmless maneuver turns into a full-on collision. It's the kind of mistake that's easy to make, but it's also one of the most dangerous. The key here is to stay calm and be patient. Don't make moves just to save a few seconds. It's not worth risking your life or someone else just to get to your destination a little faster. 5. Road rage, the escalating madness. Now, let's dive into something that I'm sure many of us have experienced at one point or another: road rage. When anger gets the best of us, the consequences can be catastrophic. Road rage doesn't just mean shouting at other drivers, it's the aggressive tailgating, the dangerous lane changes, the honking, and the reckless speeding. And in the worst cases, it can even lead to violent confrontations on the road. Take a look at this footage. The two drivers get into a heated argument at a red light, and it escalates into a dangerous situation. Instead of just letting it go, they both make poor decisions that could have cost them their lives. Road rage is a serious problem, but it's something that can be avoided if we just take a step back, breathe, and let go of that anger. Remember, the road is big enough for everyone, and no one wins when it turns into a battle of egos. 6. Weather conditions, when nature adds to the chaos. When we talk about road mistakes, one factor that can't be overlooked is the weather. Whether it's rain, snow, or just a strong wind, weather conditions can turn an ordinary drive into a challenging confrontation. But what matters most is how we react to it. You've probably driven in the rain, when the road is slippery and visibility is limited. Some drivers still continue to speed, thinking they can control the situation. However, when you fail to adjust your speed to match weather conditions, that's when danger strikes. In this clip, you will see a car speeding on a slick road, but just 1 second of distraction, and the car loses control and slams into a guardrail. This isn't uncommon. Rain, snow, or icy roads reduce a vehicle's grip, increasing the risk of skidding. An experienced driver knows that in these weather conditions, you must reduce speed and maintain a safe distance from the car ahead. Unfortunately, many drivers fail to recognize the severity of driving in poor conditions. And in situations like this, one bad decision, even if it lasts just a few seconds, can lead to serious consequences. So, always remember, no matter how urgent your journey is, nothing is more important than safety. 7. The dangers of aggressive overtaking. You've probably encountered those drivers in a hurry on the highway. These drivers won't stop overtaking you even when there's no space, and that can create a very dangerous situation. In the next video, you'll see a driver attempting to overtake another car while another vehicle is coming from the opposite direction. This creates a hazardous traffic situation, because the overtaking driver cannot predict the oncoming vehicle. Pay attention to how that car swerves out of the lane, forcing both drivers to narrowly avoid each other. Once again, overtaking isn't just a risky decision, it's a thoughtless one. When you overtake in an uncertain situation, you're not only putting yourself at risk, but also endangering everyone around you. Always remember, overtaking should only be done when it's safe. Wait until you have enough space and time to overtake safely. Never risk your safety to save a few seconds on the road. 8. The impact of road design on driving behavior. Now, let's take a look at another important factor: road design. Sometimes, driver behavior isn't the only cause of accidents. The road's structure can also create dangerous situations, especially when drivers aren't paying attention to sudden changes in traffic patterns. Imagine you're driving on a highway, and suddenly there's a sharp curve. Without a warning sign or clear lane markings, you might not be prepared, and an accident could happen. In some cases, narrow roads, fewer lanes, or the lack of streetlights at night can cause drivers to become complacent, leading to accidents. Let's watch the next clip. A car is driving on a rainy road with no clear lane markings. What happens next? The car suddenly loses control, and this is a perfect example of how poorly designed roads can lead to dangerous situations. Sometimes, these incidents could be avoided if authorities invested in better road design and maintenance. But above all, drivers need to be aware that when driving on these roads, they must always stay alert and prepared for any situation. 9. The mental state of drivers, how emotions influence decisions. One extremely important factor we can't ignore is the mental state of the driver. Have you ever driven when you're stressed, tired, or even angry? Your emotions can heavily influence how you drive and lead to poor decision making. In some cases, drivers are not only affected by their own emotions but also by external factors like work stress, family arguments, or even anxiety. These emotions can reduce a driver's ability to focus, leading to mistakes like running red lights, speeding, or being overconfident in their driving skills. Let's watch a situation where a driver seems unable to control their emotions. Pay attention to how they react in a stressful traffic scenario, and the consequences that follow. The mental state is a factor most drivers overlook when driving. However, managing emotions while driving is extremely important. Before you get in the car, if you feel tired, stressed, or upset, consider taking a short break. A little time to relax can help you avoid many risks on the road. 10 Final thoughts, the importance of patience and responsibility. So today, we've taken a look at common mistakes drivers often make, from driving in bad weather conditions to rushing decisions on the road. But there's one clear message we need to remember: safety on the road is everyone's responsibility. We all have the potential to be better drivers, and that comes not just from avoiding mistakes, but also from being patient and cautious with every decision we make. Always remember that even the smallest actions can lead to big consequences, so drive with responsibility and respect for others. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to always prioritize safety when driving. Don't let road rage moments affect your life or the lives of others. Share this video to remind everyone of the importance of safe driving. Like and subscribe so you don't miss our next videos. Alright, let's keep the video rolling and check out the wild moves from these reckless drivers. 11. Conclusion: the ripple effect of careless driving. So, what have we learned today? Careless driving isn't just about the mistakes we make, it's about the ripple effect those mistakes have on everyone else around us. It's about the crashes, the injuries, the heartache, and the lives changed forever in the blink of an eye. Every decision you make behind the wheel matters. Every second counts. Whether it's speeding, tailgating, texting, or road rage, these split-second mistakes can have life-altering consequences. The road is a shared space, and it's up to each of us to be responsible drivers. So, next time you're behind the wheel, remember this: keep your cool. Stay patient. And most importantly, drive like your life and everyone else depends on it. Because, in reality, it does.